Yokohama Duel
Deluxe.
Deluxe.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a regular?
There is.
Okay.
I got the Japanese version too.
Oh, see, you just really like this game, or do you?
Well, no, it's kind of a tradition. When Yokohama, the original game, came out, I wanted it really bad. And where I worked at, the Japanese president was able to find me a copy in Japan and brought it back for me so I could play it.
Oh.
And so, I got that, and then a year later, the deluxeified version came out from TMG. So I thought, why not try it again? So I kickstarted this one for the dual version. Thought I'd try and get the Japanese version, and I was able to. So I have both copies of both games.
And I will point out, screen printed pieces from a TMG game. This has kind of floored me. We actually have 2 different pieces that are screen printed. No stickers.
None.
Nothing to complain about on that front. This is the way TMG should have stuck with their games. All right, so this is basically a worker placement game that it's a 2-player game. Mm-hmm. There's a regular Yokohama, which has more than 2 players. But this one has got, basically 8 different, well, actually, I guess 10 different action spaces that you can take. And you're basically trying to fill orders and collect victory points from church and technology cards, as well as some various other ways that you can score points. As far as quality of pieces, there's nice metal coins. They're a little small, not too bad, but they're a little smaller than what you would normally find with coins.
But I'm okay with that just because this is supposed to be a 2-player game. So I don't think it's supposed to have a big footprint to begin with. Yeah,
and typically, I don't generally care for 2-player games, but I always like to give it ones that are more advanced to try. The screen printed pieces are really nice, but there's only the 2 of them. They didn't screen print any of the fish, the copper, or the tea they use, or any of the houses.
They just did the silk and the import tokens.
Yeah, I'm not sure why they made that choice. Card quality, it's got a slight texture on it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, for being
thickness.
Yeah, they're decent cards, not bad.
Better than your standard Kickstarter fare.
Yeah, definitely better than standard Kickstarter. The whiteboard is nice for scoring, so you don't have to waste a lot of paper.
Dry erase scoreboard.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll have to go through a lot of those markers if you play it regularly. They have a first player token that's actually cast metal, which is pretty cool. Except
it just doesn't sit flat.
Yeah, for whatever reason, they chose not to flatten the bottom of it. So when you set it down, I guess to give you the feeling of on the rocky waters of the ocean, but it doesn't sit really well. And there's a bag here, presumably for the coins, although it says in the book, I think you're supposed to put this in there, but why you would store this in one piece in a bag by itself, I don't know.
You could do all the money in there.
Yeah,
so.
I think it's meant more
and you could use it as a weapon because it'd be really heavy.
The board, it's nothing to write home about, but I think
it's a good quality board because 1, it's thick. 2, it's got really good. It's got a reflective tint to it, so it kind of looks like a foil version of a board, which looks kind of neat. But it's 2-sided, depending on how you want to orient the board, whether you want to do like a landscape or a portrait mode.
How do you see foil on this?
Look at it. You can see around each spaces where it's reflective. It's got like a.
It looks like a shiny board.
Well, it's because you're half blind, so it don't matter.
But yeah, the 2-sided thing is a nice feature. Mm-hmm. So one side is vertical, the other side's horizontal. So depending on your table.
So like Randy smells bad, I can sit on the other side where him and his wife can play. They can sit by each other. So
yeah, she probably would sit on the other side too. So yeah, that's a nice touch.
Yeah, I like that.
So going from a score perspective, I'd probably give this one a 7.5 is my thought. If it screen printed the rest of the pieces, I probably would have given it an 8. But I think that 7.5 is a good score for it.
I agree, and I think the reason why it's like that is because if you don't know much about Tasty Minstrel Games, or TMG for short, kind of had some issues with the company the last couple of years. So they've had quite a few Kickstarters that have been really delayed, and it's not just from COVID. There was a lot of just internal concerns with the company, so that their game development was really, really delayed. And I think probably what happened is they tried to get it out as quickly as possible. So they might have been able to screen print the other pieces if they wanted to take that time, but they were like, this is like, I think, just about 2 years delayed, and a lot of people were getting really upset and starting to want their money back. I just think TMG said, let's get this game out as quickly as we can. And so maybe a couple of corners we cut. But overall, I think the quality is really nice. So I agree. I wish the rest of the pieces were screen printed, but it's not a deal breaker for me. So I think that I'm just a little bit higher at an 8.
Okay. So moving on to theme, I mean, you're basically, this is it's an Asian
It's
market.
in Japan, so Japan. It's Yokohama, Japan. So it's kind of like the market district of Japan in Yokohama, where you're trying to generate, they call it power, but it's like influence, and you do that through card play and buildings, and you generate enough power to get an appropriate amount of resources that you then, as Randy mentioned, is spending those resources to either fill orders or trying to get technology cards or church cards.
So from a theme, I mean, it's a resource. It really doesn't matter what setting it is per se, but
not really. But maybe, I mean, not being from the area, but maybe the artwork for someone who's from the area might feel a little bit more inclined to say it's thematic to them. I like it because the artwork's beautiful, but it's simplistic in its design, but I think it's really nice looking. So thematically, I like it. I mean, I'd probably give it an 8.
Yeah, the power cards creep me out with the little guy. They're just the little guy smirking and staring at me. It just kind of bothered me.
You don't know if they're kids or if they're young adult. You don't know, but they're kind of creepy.
It is kind of creepy looking. But so I'm not as big of a fan of the art as you are.
Yeah, I really like it.
So
what would you give it thematically?
I mean, it's got a theme. It's set in
I don't feel like it's layered on like some games.
I feel like it is. I mean, it's you could put any other resources there, but I mean, the resources they chose are probably indicative of the area.
Right.
I know tea obviously is, fish is going to be. I'm not sure. Yeah, silk obviously is. I'm not sure how big of a copper market they have. I don't know, but maybe they do. But certainly, the rest
technology's always been important to them.
Yeah.
And so is religion. So I think it just makes sense. A lot of the decisions make sense.
And obviously they're going to import-export, so customs makes sense. So yeah, I mean, it's not heavy in theme. I could probably give it, the highest I could probably go is a 7. It's just not that thematic.
Okay. So Rulebook is really simple. It's got a lot of pages, but it's really large font, huge pictures, and it's laid out really well. So it tells you exactly how to set it up quickly. It tells you then first player versus the second player, what to keep and what to put back in the box that you won't need. It's laid out real well. I mean, I think it's a great rule book overall, and it gives you a nice little summary reference on the back sheet that you can share easily between both players. It's a really, really good rule book. I'm going to give it a 9.
Yeah, and they put a nice summary on the board even. So, I mean, it was real easy to reference. We didn't really need the book other than for final scoring. It would have been nice if they put the final scoring on the back, but, I guess that they didn't need. I have a lot of space for it, but...
And then, but I think the scoreboard itself is, once you know it that one time, it makes sense.
Yeah.
So, I'm pretty comfortable giving the rulebook a 9.
Yeah. All right, so gameplay. As far as gameplay goes, it's a very simplistic game. You've got 4 power cards that give you at the beginning from 1 to 4 power.
2 to 4, isn't it?
No,
is it
1? 1 you have to upgrade.
Right, 1 to 4.
1 to 4 power, and you allocate those from the lowest to the highest. So basically, you have to kind of figure out where do you want to go during your turn, hope for the best that other people don't beat you to the places you want to go, but you have to allocate what you least want to go to first, which is kind of the unique mechanism in this. So I knew I wanted, say, fish, silk, tea, and try to get a technology card or maybe a church card, one of the two. I'm probably going to keep the technology or church to the end because they're going to give me more benefit, and I'm going to go for my resources in the order that I can get them, but the one that I'm least caring about I would go for first. And also, you're going to use your cards, your orders to kind of guide what resources you need for the given time period of what you're playing in the game. And it's a 4-round game, so you're going to get 4 actions for 4 rounds, so 16 actions total in the game. It goes by really fast. So you allocate your person. No one else can go to the space by default rules while you're there. Now there are cards that let you bend that rule that you can get that are what they call
the foreign agents.
Foreign agent cards that let you, if you can acquire them, you can only get 4 during the game maximum.
And there's very specific ways to get them.
Yes, you have to complete certain tasks, and if you complete those tasks, you will get one. You can take that as a free action on your turn at a 3 power level to go to that place and trigger the 3 level. Each action space has from 1 to 5 as far as the power levels that it triggers to get more benefit from the space. And if you create a 4 level or a 5 level, you can build a shop or a trading space in that location, which will give you further influence in that space. And also, if you build a trading house, will give you income when you go there.
And the way you add that extra power, because like Randy said, it's only 1 to 4, so how do I get to 5? Well, there's extra power cards you can get via completing orders. You start with one at the very beginning of the game. And so if you're able to get a little bit of luck and get the right kind of card combinations, you can continue getting those extra power cards to supplement what you need to get that.
Those are one-time use cards, so when you use them, they go away.
And then another, I thought, kind of cool aspect of the game is if you can get 5 or more power, there's also a little row of cards where you can get extra bonuses called the high power bonus. And so the high power bonus at 5 might give you 2 money, but then if you get 6, you get an additional 1, so you get 3. And if you get 7, you get an additional 1, so you get 4 money. Just for building the power. And you don't have to go there, it's just extra. So I thought that was kind of nice. Yeah, and
then the other cards you can get are the technology cards, and these will either give you ongoing benefits during the game, which will give you additional resources, additional money, victory points that you earn during the game. And then there's the church cards, which give you immediate victory point scoring, or actually it's in-game scoring, but it's basically once you've got the card, you've got it.
There's a few of them that give you bonuses as far as money and extra power cards, but the main thing is victory points. They're big scores.
Yeah. And then, you've got a trading shop where you can trade resources for money or vice versa, what you need down there. And then you've got a place to get more orders. And then beyond that, it's basically resource management, gaining resources. Now, the one exception would be the imports, where these are mostly acquired through fulfilling orders or various actions like that. But you can go to the import to flip them over.
And it goes from being worth 1 victory point to 4 victory points.
Yeah, so it's basically a way of increasing the value of your crates that you've acquired.
And for it being just a 2-player game, there's actually quite a few ways of scoring.
Yeah, it's actually more involved than most 2-player games. And that's one of the problems I have with 2-player games is they're typically designed in what I consider a dumbed-down fashion. They're not designed to be a full-fledged strategy game.
I disagree with that. But
I mean, generally, and even if you play not a 2-player game, but a game where it's multiple players, but they make a 2-player version, it feels like it's stripped down or dumbed down to me.
And that's where I disagree. Like Le Havre Inland Port is an awesome game. Seven Wonders Duel, awesome game. And they're very unique to themselves.
Well, those games are interesting because those are ones where the 2-player games are pretty good. I mean, I could play Le Havre 2-player without going to the Inland Port, and I would enjoy it a lot more. But again, there's very few of those games where you can convert them to a 2-player in my eyes that they feel the same. They feel like they limit you too much to the point where I'd rather play a 3-player. So I don't play a lot of 2-player games. I know you wanted to play this one, and we got it to the table, and I actually enjoyed it more than I expected to because it didn't feel stripped down because it's designed for this. Now, I haven't played Yokohama yet, and that might change my opinion. So if I play Yokohama and enjoy that more, then I'll probably feel like, okay, this felt like a stripped-down version of Yokohama whenever we play it.
I don't feel it's stripped down at all because there are some unique aspects to it. It does feel like a sped-up version of Yokohama, so it's much faster.
Yeah, but I mean, as far as being engaging for a 2-player game, this one felt pretty good. It's still not to the level of games I prefer, but I'm gonna rate this probably a 7.5 as far as gameplay. It's a pretty good for a 2-player game.
And I'm going to go just a little bit higher at 8. I think it was quite interactive in the regards that some tension of where Randy goes, I can't go unless I have a foreign agent, which opens that spot up. So it was a lot of fun, and I really enjoyed it. So that's why I want to give it an 8.
All right, well, that's our assessment of Yokohama Duel. Yokohama Duel.
So statistically,
oh,
sorry.
Yes.
So again, like I said, this was actually the deluxeified version of a Japanese game by Hisashi Hayashi. The artists include Scott Hartman, Hisashi Hayashi, Adam McKiver, and Ryo Niyamo. Excuse me. The MSRP, though, this is not available in retail because I just got this last week via Kickstarter. So I'm not for sure how much it's going to cost in retail, but I saw on the Geek Market ranging anywhere between $65 to $85. And then the Board Game Geek rating is 7.5.
Oh, so pretty much right where we were.
Right.
All right, well, that's our assessment. If you got any comments, feedback, please hit the subscribe button to join us for further adventures. Hit the like, don't like, whatever you prefer.
The notification bell, so you get more notifications of other videos that we do.
Yep. We'll keep cranking them out as long as you're watching.
And comments. Make comments. We'll like them.
Always like to respond.
Yep.
All right. Talk to you next time.
Bye.
Bye.